She was unable to move freely without excruciating pain.
She was not mobile. She had spent 8 months to a year in bed.
It's a very helpless feeling. It's a long time to be in pain.
This escalated. It didn't go away. It just kept getting worse.
I'm really believing that I'm going to end up in a wheelchair.
Welcome to The Incurables. I'm Don Wildman. Chronic back pain is one of the most pervasive ailments of the modern age. Almost 90% of Americans can expect to suffer from back pain at some point during their lives. While not strictly life-threatening, back pain can rob a person of all things they hold dear: careers, friendships, independence, and even the ability to walk without excruciating pain. Amy Gibson was a talented and successful actress. A star of several soap operas, she was a vibrant, dynamic woman who enjoyed all the best life had to offer until she was crippled with extreme back pain. Unwilling to yield to the risks and dangers of the surgeon's knife, Amy found a way to reclaim the life she feared might be lost forever.
When Amy was in pain, it was devastating. I saw my friend, who was vibrant and absolutely on the go every minute, not able to move. And it was terrifying.
She had very severe back pain, and she had been told by several doctors that she would have to have surgery or she may end up in a wheelchair.
This case was extreme. She had 7 herniated discs. Even though I have worked with a lot of people with back injuries, neck injuries, and such, this one really scared me.
Doctors told me, listen, we're going to be honest with you. You should get used to Vicodin. There's a 50% chance you may end up in a wheelchair. And you probably will never, ever be able to hold a child. And that's your reality.
Amy Gibson was raised in Westchester, New York. As a girl, she loved to play sports and grew up a bit of a tomboy.
I was always very athletic. I was brought up to be a golfer. There was good and bad to that. The good was that I was really good. The bad was that when my other friends were riding bikes like normal kids, I'd be like, you know, I was at my golf lesson every day.
Besides keeping Amy from her friends, the daily golf lessons had unforeseen consequences.
What I realized was that I was coming down and snapping my back, and I would have some backache. You know, as I was growing up, I had a little backache, but I really didn't give it any thought.
When she was 12, Amy began modeling and acting. She received immediate notice.
I was playing golf, I was learning how to play golf every day, and then I was going on auditions. And it came to a point that I had to choose one or the other because I got onto a soap named Love of Life.
When she was just 14, Amy was nominated for an Emmy Award for her portrayal of troubled teen Lynn Henderson on Love of Life. Then Amy headed to California, where she starred in The Young and the Restless, and then on General Hospital. But while her career was soaring, her back began giving her trouble.
I got into a car accident, and also a water skiing accident. I ended up with 7 herniated discs and a tremendous amount of pain.
Amy was a soap opera star, and she wasn't working because she had back trauma.
All my friends were amazing. They all helped me stay alive during that time when I couldn't work and I was really in pain.
To see Amy nearly immobilized came as quite a shock to her friends.
She's active and fun-loving, and all of a sudden can't move, is in such pain that she is really limited.
She had difficulty walking because of her back pain.
I felt dead. I felt like nothing about me was female. I felt like an absolute failure on the planet, that I had nothing to contribute. I'd gotten so used to being in pain all night, all day, day after day, day after day, day after day, crying, that I couldn't even imagine what it would be like to have a life again.
Unable to work, dependent on friends, the once proud actress was so consumed with pain that she began to question her existence.
I had no use of my life. Although I could use my arms and my legs and walk, to do so was so incredibly painful that I questioned over and over again, why am I here?
When you have a bad back, you go from one day where you're managing the pain to the next day when it's got you. As the pain escalated, her world diminished and it became very restricted. She was caught in her own home. She couldn't move. I mean, it was terrible and excruciating pain.
Trying to perform even the most mundane routines of daily living could become a terrible ordeal.
Getting in and out of a bathtub was just one of the hardest things to do. To pull myself out of the bathtub, everyone had to always pull me out. You know, get me in bed, help me in the bathtub. That's giving up a lot of control. It's embarrassing that you don't have the wherewithal to do these things for yourself and have the strength that you used to have to do them. It's embarrassing. It's about pride, you know, and as a woman, it's devastating.
She needed help getting out of bed. She needed help walking in her own home. Forget walking her dogs, she needed help.
Amy was pretty depressed.
I was in such pain. I dragged myself on the floor, I was crying, and I just said, okay, God, you know what? However you need to take me, take me.
One day she cried and she said, I'm really scared. She told me how worried she was and how frightened she was about what the doctors were saying could be her life to come. It was very upsetting. It involved not being independent, and it involved a lot of pain.
Amy looked for help from the medical establishment, but received no comforting answers.
Surgeons only had one alternative for me, and that was surgery. And they couldn't give me any guarantees. They couldn't tell me whether I would really be back to normal, ever. All of them told me, it's kind of a crapshoot. And I just wasn't going to let my life give it up to something that's a crapshoot.
Amy went to doctor after doctor, hoping for better news.
Every single doctor I went to created more and more fear in me. I don't want to scare you, but you know, there's a very good chance. If this doesn't exactly go like we hope, you could end up in a wheelchair. And then I went home, and the fear, you know, you see yourself in a wheelchair. You literally see yourself in that life. And it was just devastating. I mean, I forget crying, I was hysterical. Maybe it would have worked. You know, maybe surgery would have been the answer. But the odds against me were so great that I wasn't willing to risk it.
Even in her darkest moments of fear and uncertainty, Amy had friends who stood by her in her search for healing.
All I wanted to do was make sure that this was fixed, because there's a part of you that just can't believe something can't be done.
Oftentimes, people are told that they have to live with their injuries and their pain for life, and that it's incurable.
I think there's a time where you have to be honest with yourself and say, okay, either we have to resolve ourselves to the fact that you're going to have surgery, or you exhaust every possible resource. And I hadn't exhausted all of them yet. So I decided, okay, I'm going to exhaust the alternative side.
She never gave in and quit. She didn't go, this pain is too much, I can't think about a solution. It was, this pain is reminding me I have to find a solution.
My whole life was coming to a halt, and I had to do something. I wasn't willing to be in a wheelchair the rest of my life.
Amy Gibson was told by numerous surgeons that she needed back surgery, and even then, she might end up in a wheelchair. Unwilling to accept such dire news, Amy sought out a more natural method to ease her debilitating pain. Then she discovered a physician named Mark Darrow, who specializes in an alternative medical treatment known as prolotherapy.
Most people are skeptical about the concept of prolotherapy. Doctors don't know about it because doctors aren't trained on it in medical school. And if a doctor is not up on something, meaning if he's not learned about something, he's not trained in something, then he's typically down on it.
I would have people saying to me, prolotherapy? What is this? I mean, some alternative. What are you doing? You have prominent doctors telling you what needs to be done. I mean, what are you doing?
She had the courage to do something really out of the box in terms of a therapy.
Hoping there might be a non-surgical option for relieving her excruciating back pain, Amy went to see Dr. Darrow.
When I examined Amy, I had her lay face down on my table. I touched the spots that she was talking about, and I found that the low back area where the iliolumbar ligament is was very, very tender. She actually screamed when I pressed on that area, which was a good sign for me in terms of thinking she would be able to heal. The MRIs showed she could not heal because the MRI showed herniated disc, protruding disc, sitting on nerve roots. That's tough stuff. That means get to the surgeon and get it fixed, but not in the paradigm that I work in. The paradigm I work in, find where the pain is being generated from, and I found that. And that was something that I thought prolotherapy could help very easily.
After examining Amy, Dr. Darrow concluded that the source of her pain was a weak ligament in her back and not the result of her ruptured discs. To strengthen the ligament, he proposed doing a series of prolotherapy injections.
Amy came to me and said, they're going to stick a needle in my back, and I went, are you sure? I was terrified. I'm getting goosebumps talking about it right now. I said, what exactly is going to happen here? How can you be sure this will work? And she said, I can't be sure, but I'm going to try it, and I'm going to find out.
Prolotherapy works by injecting injured tendons or ligaments with a sugar water solution. The shots cause swelling and inflammation, thereby stimulating the body's natural mechanism for healing.
Inflammation is how the body heals itself. All we're really doing is we're following nature. We do what nature does. If someone were to sprain their ankle and it's swelled up, what is happening is the body is trying to heal itself.
Dr. Darrow uses inflammation to increase the blood flow to connective tissue, which ordinarily has a poor blood supply.
We actually try to inflame the area, which we do a good job of, and then we mobilize the area and we heat it up. We do all the opposites of what, modern medicine does. We follow what the body does itself naturally, and we give the body a second chance to heal.
Amy was encouraged by what she learned of prolotherapy from Dr. Darrow.
He explained what prolo was, he explained the positives about it, but he didn't sell it to me. He said, the worst part that could happen is that nothing happens. The best is that actually it works and you can walk without pain.
Talking to Dr. Darrow, I believe he gave her confidence, not in that this is a miracle cure, but confidence that there would be a change.
With high expectations, Amy began receiving prolotherapy injections.
Amy's biggest problem really with the injections was not getting the injection, but after the injection, she would get a little bit stiff and complain about that more so than most people do. Most people don't get stiff. Some people do get stiff, but it's very mild after an injection. It may last about 24 hours. Amy had a problem about post-injection stiffness, which would last with her for about 10 minutes, where she would kind of move around quite a bit, and then she'd relax and she'd feel fine.
It was a little painful. It also didn't work. I was supposed to get up and feel better the next day, and I didn't. And I was very disappointed. And I went into a deeper depression. And now all those words that people have told me are really starting to sink in. I'm really believing that I'm going to end up in a wheelchair.
When the prolotherapy appeared to be having no effect, Amy was near despair. But then suddenly, a few nights after her third treatment, something began to change.
And that Tuesday morning, it was about 6 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and I felt like I had worms on my back. I went, wow, what's going on? You know, something's going on my back. And I called Mark at about 6:30 in the morning. I said, Mark, there's something going on. He goes, come right in. And the Prolo was starting to work. And not only was it working, but it was working quickly.
Sometimes one injection will do the job, not typically. Typically it takes 5, 6, on a low back it may take 8 or 10 injections. But the results are phenomenal.
Amy's recovery wasn't like one day she has the needle, the next day she's fine. It was incremental, but each increment was something to really celebrate.
There's nothing that I know of that can do what prolotherapy does, which is to actually regrow the tissue. And when people get that, when they read about it, when they realize they're rejuvenating tissue, they're willing to go through the process.
By growing new collagen, prolotherapy strengthened the ligaments in Amy's back, helping to bring her spine into proper alignment.
The tissue actually becomes about 50% thicker and about 200 to 400% stronger.
He was always very sure that it was going to work. And then he said, listen, I really want you to now rehabilitate because now you have to strengthen your back. So he sent me to Patricia Toffitt-Crosby, who's a well-known fitness trainer that works specifically with women either over 35 or with severe physical ailments.
The first steps in Amy's rehabilitation were tentative. By working with a trainer to do carefully graded physical therapy, in conjunction with chiropractic work and ongoing prolotherapy injections, Amy made astonishing progress.
The prolotherapy was very useful for us because as she got the prolo, it helped the pain subside, at least so that we could get through a workout. And each time we could get through a workout, she could get to the next level. She would build more strength. We walked hand in hand with the prolotherapy and the training.
Had Amy not come into the office, there's a high probability she would have ended up having back surgery. Thank goodness Amy got here in time.
If I had listened to those 7 doctors and gotten surgery, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today. I wouldn't be in the health that I am today.
To see her today, you would never think that she had ever had a challenge. Today, Amy is able to exercise any of the options she wants to. Whatever pain she has, she can manage. It isn't debilitating. It doesn't circumscribe her ability to be who she is. And certainly it doesn't dim her extraordinary spirit.
If it had been me, I don't know if I could have gone the distance that she did. Today, Amy is able to walk 2-3 miles, able to bike. She even jumped out of an airplane. She's just an amazing individual. She's just really where she needs to be.
I live a much more grateful life because when you have your health back, there's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like being able to walk without pain.
The fact that Amy has done well for so long makes me so happy. Most people that have prolotherapy or come to our clinic come in the office and thank me. Their spouses come in, they drive long distances to thank me. That makes me feel good. I like what I do.
Prior to her back problems, Amy had faced another challenge. As a young soap opera star, she began losing her hair. When she got her mobility back, Amy decided to dedicate the rest of her life to helping others deal with hair loss.
I have no hair. I have alopecia areata. And through my own journey with that, I've become the leading person in the country on female hair loss. And I have my own line of wigs, Amy's Presence, that really gives women alternatives like the first women's swim wig and other things that I've created. Just like prolotherapy changed my life, what I do really transforms women.
Today, Amy takes great satisfaction in helping to provide wigs for clients who are losing their hair to chemotherapy and other causes.
When I see a woman come in complete fear, and I know that by the time we leave, that she's going to be a different person, and then she actually is at the end of our session and I see that this person is happy and joyful and together, it fills me up more than anything I have ever done in my life. It fills my heart to such a great extent that I can't even express to you what it does. It is the most amazing experience.
She's an amazing individual with all the people that she helps with her new career, with her wig business. She makes people feel like $1 million, and she knows where they're at because she's been there.
She is devoted, not to putting hair on somebody's head, but to help heal someone so that when they put that hair on their head, they then feel more whole.
The journey changed me. It made me extremely appreciative of the moment because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. So you learn to live in the moment.
Amy Gibson's amazing recovery from crippling back pain is an example of hope to all who suffer from this debilitating condition. And the way she's used her recovery as a means to help others is an inspiration.